Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today I have an absolutely terrifying story for you all about a haunting that even the priests could unfix. So grab your phone, turn on your lights, and let's get into the story. It was in the year of 1989 when Margaret Rose, a loving mother of three, passed away in her home in West Sussex. Her family had been living in this old farmhouse for over 20 years, and it was here where she raised her children. But after her death, her son moved out, and the house remained empty until it was eventually put up for sale. The new owner was excited to get her hands on such a large house for so cheap. She and her husband planned to fix it up and then rent out the rooms. The only catch was that they would have to renovate the house while staying in it, which meant that they would be living there alone for some time. But still, they were more than happy to take it on. They gathered their tools and boxes and moved right in. For the first few weeks, everything seemed fine. It was just an old house with some creaky floorboards and drafty windows. The couple didn't think much of it. That was until one night when they heard voices coming from the graveyard next door. See, the couple had forgotten to lock the bedroom window before going to bed. And when they woke up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, they heard what sounded like whispering coming from outside. At first they thought it was probably just the wind, or maybe some animals outside. But then the whispers got louder and more clear. And as they strained to listen, they realized that they were definitely voices. They tried to ignore it and went back to sleep. But every time they closed their eyes, they could hear the voices. Were they going crazy? Should they call the police? Was someone outside trying to get in? The couple was too afraid to go back to sleep, so they spent the rest of the night sitting in the dark listening to the voices outside. At one point, they even thought they heard footsteps pacing back and forth right outside their window. When the sun finally came up, they got up and ran to the window to look outside. But because it was still early, the morning mist covered the entire field and made out the graveyard, which meant that they couldn't see if anything or anyone was out there. Still, they were too scared to go back inside. Instead, they sat outside for hours waiting for the mist to clear. But when it finally did, they saw nothing except for the gravestones. Nobody had ever been there. The couple called the police, but when they arrived, they also found nothing. Even the neighbors said that they often heard strange noises coming from the graveyard at night, so they weren't too surprised. It was as if the graveyard was haunted. But the thing is, graveyards aren't haunted by people, but rather restless spirits who refuse to move on. After this incident, the couple decided to lock their bedroom window at night. They hoped that whatever was out there wasn't strong enough to break the glass and get inside. But little did they know, it was only the beginning. One day the woman was looking through the attic when she found a box filled with old letters and photographs. As she looked through them, she found one picture in particular that stood out. It was a picture of a woman holding 3 young boys. The woman looked to be in her late 20s, and she had a beautiful smile. On the back of the photo, it simply said, "Margaret Rose and her boys." As the woman looked at the photo, she suddenly felt a cold presence behind her. She turned around, but seeing as the attic had already been cleaned out, there was nobody else up here with her. Was it Margaret Rose? Why did she feel cold? And why did she get goosebumps when she looked at the photo? Could it be that the house was haunted by Margaret Rose herself? As the days went by, more and more strange things started happening. Books would fall off shelves, doors would slam shut, and sometimes the woman would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps pacing back and forth in the hallway. She would also often hear a woman singing a lullaby in the dead of the night. The woman would always run to the bedroom to hide under the covers until morning. Then one day she heard the singing while she was awake. She followed the sound and ended up in the nursery, where she heard the voice. It sounded like it was coming from inside the closet. She opened the door, but it was just an empty closet filled with old furniture. Then suddenly she heard the voice again, this time right behind her. She spun around, but there was no one there. She decided to ask the neighbors if they knew anything about the previous owner. After hearing about all the strange occurrences that had been happening, the neighbors told her that it was indeed Margaret Rose, and that she might still be haunting the house. Apparently, she had drowned in a boating accident along with her husband, leaving their 3 young boys without parents. Some say that she still walks the earth searching for her children. The woman was now starting to get really scared. If Margaret was haunting the house, then why was she haunting it? Was she dangerous? Was she trying to tell them something? Or was she simply lonely and just wanted company? She decided to visit the local church and asked if the priest could come over and bless the house. He agreed and came over the next day. As soon as he walked through the door, he started looking around. He took a deep breath and then said, "This house has a lot of negative energy. It's clear that a tragedy happened here in the past and that someone died here. It's possible that this person is haunting the house." He then asked the couple if they could leave the house for a few hours so that he could perform an exorcism. They agreed and left the house. The priest began to walk around, sprinkling holy water and reading from the Bible. As he did this, he started to feel a dark presence watching him. He could feel his hair stand on end and his skin crawl. But he continued until he reached the nursery. Here, he felt the strongest presence. He began to speak out loud, commanding whatever evil spirit was haunting the house to leave immediately. Suddenly, the room got very cold and the air grew thick. The priest felt a strong gust of wind behind him, and when he turned around, he saw the closet door slowly open. He knew in his heart that this was Margaret Rose's spirit. Why was she haunting her own house? He went closer to the closet and asked her why she wouldn't move on. He told her that he could feel her sadness and pain, and that he wanted to help her. Suddenly, the temperature in the room began to rise, and the closet door slammed shut. The priest gasped, taken aback by the sudden burst of anger. Then, just as suddenly, it stopped. The room slowly began to warm up again, and the closet door slowly opened. The priest walked over and opened it. Inside, he found a small wooden box, picked it up and brought it downstairs. He placed it on the table and opened it. Inside, he found a diary. He handed it to the woman and told her that this belonged to Margaret Rose. As she read through the diary, she learned that Margaret was a kind and loving mother who enjoyed spending time with her boys. But she also learned that Margaret was very worried about what would happen to her boys if she and her husband died. In fact, she wrote about it several times in the diary. It seemed that Margaret had drowned in a boating accident along with her husband, but not before knowing that their sons would be taken away from them. It was clear that she wasn't haunting the house, but rather the town. She was looking for her boys and trying to find out what had happened to them. The woman felt terrible. All this time, she had been so scared of Margaret, but now she understood that she was simply a mother who was looking for her lost children. With this new knowledge, the woman felt a sense of calm wash over her. She knew that Margaret meant them no harm, and that she was simply a ghost who was looking for peace. And so the woman decided to do something for Margaret. She contacted the local newspaper and told them about the ghost in her house. She also told them about the diary and how Margaret was looking for her children. The article was picked up by several newspapers, and soon the whole country knew about Margaret's story. One day, a woman contacted the house and told the woman that she believed that she was related to Margaret. She came over and showed them a family tree that proved that she was Margaret's niece. She had been searching for Margaret's diary for years, but had no idea that it was in this house. With the diary now in the hands of her family, Margaret's story would finally be told and her memory would live on. As for the house, it was no longer haunted. So the couple was finally able to move in and make it their home. But what do you think? Do you believe in ghosts? Have you ever seen one? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more scary stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.